Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the market site in Times Square, we have Hirsch. He's the USA Managing Director over at eToro, and we're going to take a look at how security laws are working the way they are designed to do so. Guy, it's great to have you with us at the market site. And a few weeks back, the SEC announced an emergency action against Telegram and its $1.7 billion cryptocurrency offering. And it seemed like it was taking a stance, making it clear they weren't going to tolerate VCs and hedge funds for taking advantage of retail investors. Give us some background on that and why you think the SEC is doing its job as intended.
So I think the SEC are very careful about how to make sure that the transition or the inevitable transition into tokenized securities is done in a way that they're comfortable with. And there have been, in the past few years, various attempts to try to in effect, maybe bypass what is intended, or another way to put it, making the SEC comfortable about the way of issuing and then trading a token, a security token. And so what Telegram did with US-based investors and US-based VCs and whatnot was maybe not to the comfort level that the SEC was hoping to see from an ICO or an STO of that size. And so I think that's why they got worried that this might be, if they're going to let it fly, might be opening the floodgates for additional sizable STOs, and decided to push the brakes and make sure that everyone understands that they need to be comfortable with how things would look like in the future once we go in the route of tokenized securities.
Do you think this is why there's been some pushback with Libra? One, they don't feel comfortable, or two, they just don't understand digital assets or cryptocurrency yet?
Yes, but Libra, I think, has a different flavor to it. So Libra and Facebook are suffering from, I would say, just a PR issue over the past few years with the election and everything that has to do with privacy and so on and so forth. So I think a lot of lawmakers are happy to get a sound bite when it comes to Facebook and Libra, and just another opportunity to bash Facebook. But particularly around Libra, I think there's a lot of confusion as to how this will work, how this will function, and what is the difference, for example, between Libra and Bitcoin or Libra and ETH. And we as the industry need to do a lot more in education, meeting with lawmakers, educating them, and making sure they understand the intricacies. And then I believe that they will be much more comfortable letting Libra have its day in the market and see if people will adopt it.
Well, for the sake of the Trade Talks audience, what is the difference between Libra and what we know more as Bitcoin?
The issue, one of the key issues with crypto has been adoption, mass adoption. How do we get crypto in the hands of millions and billions of people? Whether it's Bitcoin or a stable coin pegged to a fiat currency, doesn't matter. If someone has crypto, then we will accelerate the adoption of crypto as a whole. Libra has the opportunity to get mass adoption because of Facebook. So suddenly you're going to have a coin that people trust because they use Facebook all day long. They can use that for commerce on a platform that they trust, or using the Libra wallet that they would associate with Facebook, even though these are two basically separate companies, and there's a different governing mechanism for the actual coin, but still people would say, I'm going to trust this, and I'm going to probably use this in order to transact, in order to pay. And that is the key difference. It's a gateway to mass adoption of something new, but still crypto. And I think that is the fear that lawmakers are sensing versus Bitcoin.
So two questions here. Why not just use Bitcoin? One, I do understand that you will get the mass scale because it is Facebook's platform. And then is Libra, one Libra equals $1, equals 25 cents? Do they know what this denomination looks like?
So for the first question, I think in the eyes of the consumer, or the average person on the street is fighting the notion of there's no one behind Bitcoin. What does that mean, that there's no one behind Bitcoin?
Right.
What does that mean, decentralization, censorship resistance, that no one can really manipulate this ledger? It's a hard concept to grasp. And again, the industry needs to do a better job at explaining it and explain why this is good for you, that no one can then manipulate your money, manipulate your wealth. and therefore it's an opportunity to hedge against government intervention, especially in places where governments are corrupt, and so on and so forth. As for the second question, I think that at the end of the day, we still don't know. The Libra Association is convening and still deciding exactly how things will be pegged and how will they be pegged to a basket of currencies. To their credit, they have been trying to be as transparent as possible, but I think we still don't know the exact mechanism, how it will be pegged, but I think their public intention is to peg it to a basket of fiat currencies.
All right. I could ask questions all day long about this because it's fascinating, but we have to get into eToro. Tell us a little bit more about the company, and then you also have a new announcement. You launched CopyTrader.
Right. So eToro is a global trading platform. We have been around for 12 years now. We are trying to open the global markets for anyone to trade and invest in a simple and transparent way. So we are trying to democratize wealth management, wealth building, giving people access to the best available tools that usually have been kept to hedge funds and high net worth individuals and so on and so forth. So we have an easy-to-use platform that anyone can basically open an account, deposit funds, and then start trading. Outside of the US, we're a multi-asset platform. You can trade US stocks, indices, commodities, currencies, and cryptocurrencies all on the same platform. In the US, our offering right now is centered around crypto. And the CopyTrader feature that we've announced today in the US is your ability to discover those who are actually performing really well. So by default, your trades, your portfolio, your track record are shared with the rest of the community, so people can see how well you're doing with your own real money. And if you are consistent, if you're doing really, really well, people can then copy you. What does that mean? It means that every time they trade, you will trade at the same time, same price. So it's kind of a portfolio management 2.0 type of thing. And for the person being copied, they can make money. If enough people are copying them, we would compensate them for the fact that they are popular and generating a lot of interest in their trading expertise.
That's really interesting if you're a new crypto trader and you're trying to figure out how these assets trade and what the levels look like and so forth. This is a great way to learn it real time.
Absolutely, and I think as opposed to traditional assets, where for example, that certain firms and certain hedge funds really know and understand securities or understand commodities or understand bonds and so on and so forth, in crypto it's still to be determined. Who knows how to trade this asset class in a good way or in a consistent way. And I think that CopyTrader now gives the opportunity to people to show that they can actually trade this asset class in a way that's outperforming whatever indexes we're going to decide that represent the benchmark. And I think it gives people the opportunity to then explore that, copy it, and build their wealth using this asset class that have been the best performing asset class over the last decade.
All right, well, we look forward to updates on that. I'm curious to see how it turns out. Thank you so much for joining us at MarketSite. And thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.